Yeah, more people here tonight than last week. That's nice. My primary purpose this summer seems to be to learn ways to understand the script work more deeply so we can move faster and to integrate kids faster, to find out what the methods are for integrating kids and to find out what the mechanisms are. And there we seem to have been approaching that for most of the year. We've been getting a lot of new information and a lot of new methods and stuff. And then this summer we have the delightful situation in which there are no new kid students. So we're having a kid class that you don't go through the 7 steps, but just work with everybody right where they are. And we've been getting some good information. We had some people from SoCal, California, that are bringing us new insights and such like their experience. They're original Barber students, so they're bringing us a lot of insight. And my primary purpose in Monday nights during these 2 months at least is to support that work any way we can. So this is the time to talk about script questions or kid questions or methods questions or pointing at the moon type truth questions or Joel truth questions or questions in your practice or just questions about truth that you read elsewhere or wonder if it's truth or whatever you want to talk about. You know, this is a good time to clear this stuff up. An important part of getting rid of this kid type stuff is the deprogramming, and the way we deprogram is confront the lie with truth, so we have to know the truth. And the other thing that should be very clear is that it takes a spiritual adult to do that work, so we have to develop spiritual adult, and the deeper we get into the work, the more spiritual adult we require. So we're primarily here to help develop spiritual adult or learn the specific truths that we need to address specific lies or whatever we want to talk about. We'll certainly do that for all of August while the workshop goes on, and I don't know what we'll do in September, but if this is what people want to be doing and there's good energy and good response, we'll probably keep doing it. So I'm open for any comments or feedback or anything you want to say, and what's going on, what do you need, how can I help you? How can I be of service? How can this whole group be of service to you? Because there's lots of people with lots of experience. Dulcie's with us back in our fold, and she has great kid experience, and we just have lots of experience and lots of information and lots of room to grow. So let's take advantage of it.
This is Ellen. I wanted to say something that's really amazing. I uncovered a couple of scripts I had not had experience with before. I didn't see them. It's really clear. I couldn't get it. It's so clear. How could I miss that one? But what's happened is that they've been really new, and the work, what has happened since seeing them in the last couple of weeks is, I'm real clear on the resistance behavior, the fantasies that go with them, and the turnaround has been really quick. And I know that's because that there's trust there, and that there's awareness that wasn't there before. But I'm really quite surprised at how quickly. I don't know that they're. I'm not suggesting that they're gone, but the behavior that I was doing behind them, I saw it, and the behavior stopped. Mm-hmm. And I've also been working with Lisa. We've been calling each other every morning and writing down the 3 things. I've been writing down the 3 things I would do if I wasn't afraid. And the last few days, I've been doing all 3 and then some, which is remarkable. I never saw that I didn't ask for help before. Very few people I've asked for help. And as soon as I saw that, it was like, let's go get some help here. I'm just so happy about that, because before it was getting a script and then, years of work on it. And it's very hopeful that once there's a relationship established, whatever's found, it can be worked with quite quickly. So I feel very.
Yeah, that's because there's enough spiritual adult to see it clearly, and because she's been around long enough that this kid has established some trust in her. That's when it starts moving fast, it seems to me. Does that feel right to you?
Absolutely. And that I could see it while it was happening, which was not the case. It was only in retrospect for a really long time.
The other thing that I've been looking back and I sort of see in retrospect is that even after the script is seen clearly and is effectively torn up and the kid's on board and everybody's together, nonetheless, the old idea and the old habit is there. We talk about old tapes. The old habit is there. And when a script situation arises, there's the reflex that says, I need to worry about this, even though both spiritual adult and kid realize we don't need to and need to react to this, and yet it seems to be there which reminds me of Robert saying that when you pull the plug of the fan out from the wall, the fan still needs to spin down. So I think we need to be patient with ourselves there. I look back at my own history and see that happened, that was true. That when there's no question about anything going on, nonetheless, that something in there is leery about the situation, even though it knows it's nonsense. So that's another thing that might be worth paying attention to or for. You have a witness. A witness helps. Does everybody know what a witnessing consciousness is? If you're in a script event and you suddenly notice that you're in a script event, who noticed? There is a part of you which is always aware of what you're doing. There's a part of me that is always aware. It's always witnessing what I'm doing, okay? Which is to say, I'm aware of what I'm doing, okay? Now, I may not be identified with that part of me. I may not be aware that I'm aware of what I'm doing, but there's always part of me that's aware of what's going on here, okay? And that's the witness. And so everybody has a witnessing consciousness, always. If you can remember what you did, you had a witnessing consciousness while you were doing it, because you were focused on doing it rather than on watching it. So there is a witnessing consciousness. The question, of course, is where you're identified. And one possible goal that we can set is to move from identifying with the doer to identifying with the one who is watching. Get personal. Instead of identifying with Lee doing something, I'm more peaceful if I'm identified with the one who's watching, observing Lee doing that, okay? And the more witness you have, if you're conscious of your witness, if you're aware that you're aware to some extent, then you have the chance of catching the glitch. You have the chance of noticing that you're in emotion while you're in it, rather than noticing an hour later that you were in emotion. All that sort of stuff, and that's what we mean by developing the witnessing consciousness. Developing the ability to be aware that you're aware. Getting some small part of you to always be aware that you're aware. That's what I mean by that. Cool, thanks.
We know when I need to go here, please.
Yes, speak in right now, Jim, but we need you to speak louder.
Okay, can you hear me?
A little bit. Can you speak louder?
I'm closer to the microphone. I don't know that I can speak louder.
All right. You're as loud as you can be, so speak up and we'll hear you, please.
Okay, I'm getting some static here, so maybe I should try to call in again.
Now you're good here.
Oh, okay. This ties in with what's being said there. Early on in the scripted kid work, I that I have what I believe to be a parent who is hypercritical of everything I do. It can be the way I brush my teeth or the way I'm washing the dish. It's subliminal, and once I became more aware of it, then I would recognize it more often. But primarily it was subliminal, but I know that it was there. This constant criticism. And I just made a note of it. I paid attention to it. I did some writing about it. I wrote to that part of myself about trying to figure out what the problem is and how can we fix this and so on. And what I've noticed in the last week or so is that I started doing your thing, Lee. I would just say, when it would come up, I would say nonsense. Or at least I would recognize that it was just the critical voice, and I wouldn't take it to heart, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's happened is that I have developed more spiritual adult, because in the last week or so, I can't really describe what I'm feeling. I have a new relationship with myself, and that critical part of me is going away. The fact is, I like myself better.
Cool.
And that's about it. That's what I've got to say, and that just seems to tie in with what's being said there.
Absolutely. See, there's a part of you that's alert and catching that. That's the game, is to be here now, so that you can catch that critical voice when it starts, rather than after it's already ruined your day or ruined your behavior or caused a reaction or done whatever it's done. That's good. Great. I love it.
I feel like I know this intellectually, but I'm so pissed off that I'm sick, and the more I'm pissed off, the more I know I'm not going to get better.
Mm-hmm. Why
I'm so pissed that I'm sick.
Why are you pissed off that you're sick?
Because I thought I'm getting better at this stuff.
That's what I thought.
I literally just came out like a ton of friends. I was in class yesterday, I just started to feel it, and I'm sick as a dog. I didn't go to work that day. And the whole day I'm just laying there going, please, get better, get better.
So you should be above this by now.
Yes, absolutely. What's the problem?
I had a lady call me.
I'm so mad.
I had a lady call me a couple of days ago and say she was having some physical problem, and her comment was, I should be above this by now. And my comment is, yeah, I should be able to walk to Catalina by now, And when I'm able to walk to Catalina, then I should be able to stand by it. The fact is that there's always going to be somebody that thinks we should be holier than we are, or there's always going to be some amount of holiness that we are. And the reality is that we're where we are, and we have no idea why we're where we are or how we got here. We aren't taking into consideration our past 100 lifetimes to realize how badly damaged we are, and we have no idea what's going on. We don't know where we are, we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we're going. All we know about it is that right now I feel like I should judge this poorly. It's such a game that we play.
It's like there's one kid that wants to be sick because she just wants to stay in bed. The other, I guess, older kid is just so pissed with the younger kid. And, just pissed off. I can't shake it. I don't want to be sick.
Well, get your eye on right now. I am not sick. I have a kid, part of me, who is sick, and I have a part of me who hates being. I have a part of me that wants to be sick, and I have a part of me who hates being sick, and I have a body that thinks it's sick. Okay? Don't say I when you're doing that, because that's not you. But certainly, fighting being sick will prevent healing. Yeah, so.
That's a good example of what we were talking about Saturday. We were trying to figure out what the difference between parent and a kid that's in script who's judging another kid and a parent who's, telling us we shouldn't be that, and we came up with the idea that if you're in script, then it's a kid that's judging the other kid, and it's just a kind of a voice without an emotion coming in its parent. So it sounds like that would be a kid judging the other kid.
Expected this one for this, and that parents I expected 12 of us.
Yeah.
I got somebody who just wants to go, oh, I don't know where that's coming from.
Well, there's a good case to work with that kid. What does she need that she's not getting because you're sick? That kind of question.
Most people know the answer to that.
Well,
She said it to me half hour ago, so I know.
so you've already done your homework on that. Okay, cool.
Still pissed though.
No, you're not pissed. Yeah.
What part of me is pissed?
Yeah, part of it is pissed. You're not pissed. I'm not pissed.
I've been doing this one all year. I have different stuff come up now. And now I've been asking myself, what am I saying yes to that's hurting me? What am I saying yes that's hurting? It's always that. I'm saying yes to something that's hurting me, and I'm always judging that I should be saying yes to it. Sometimes it's good, it's fantasy behavior, and sometimes it's just appearance. And it doesn't matter because, man, that's my touchstone.
If the word should is in the sentence is nonsense. Unless you're using it in a sentence like everything should be exactly the way it is. And even then it doesn't have any meaning because the truth is everything is exactly the way it is, period. No shoulds. Should is an opportunity to beat yourself up. Or to get up.
I have one question because I started an assignment last night, the script, and then there's resistance behavior, and then the fantasy script, and then the fantasy behavior.
Oh, good.
And so I tried to do it. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I'm just going to get it out there.
Good.
I felt trapped, trapped in my marriage, and so I just walked away, because I guess that was my resistance behavior.
And what is that? The script is I'll always be trapped.
Always be trapped.
So what's the resistance behavior?
Walking away from it.
Yeah, walking away from it, right?
Okay, so then I started writing, because I thought, wait a minute, I feel the legs, and I'm in it, so I walked away, and I wrote, and then the fantasy script is a fantasy person that is going to be perfect, and everything's going to be perfect. And then the fantasy behavior, it seems like it's just like daydreaming all day long about this fantasy person, this fantasy thing, and I cannot get out of the fantasy behavior because I know that the fantasy is impossible. There's nothing wrong with my husband. He's a perfect person. We have a great relationship. It's all me. So, but I can't seem to get myself out of it, and it's like all day long, I'm like going, wanting to like, maybe go back to work, and maybe do this, and maybe, and I don't do it, and I was listening to Eckhart Tolle like all day long today, but I feel like crazy. I feel like really, really, I don't know how. I mean, this is the first time I've done this class really, and I haven't done the kid part, but it's just so uncomfortable because, we're going on this nice vacation and there's nothing wrong in our relationship. I'm really in a sick place, all on my own, and I don't know how to get out of it. Like, I'm really like obsessed with this idea and this.
Yeah, the kid is obsessed with the idea. The kid really is pursuing fantasy, and Yeah, I wish I had a really quick answer. I wish there was a quick way to solve it, but if she's so strongly pursuing a fantasy, which is her source of hope, that's a measure of the extent to which she's lost hope because her script continues to get read and the resistance behaviors don't work.
Well, after we got married, that script got really strong. He was like, "Do feel trapped."
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was forever on that day. Yeah, married. I got that like a year later, and it's terrifying, you know. So, yeah, it is. I think I try to think, okay, well, why am I fantasizing? Why am I having this big fantasy?
Because your kid has no hope.
Right, and this gives it so much hope.
Because your kid has no hope in becoming uncaged. Okay.
Yeah, I picture us on a sailboat, often quiet.
Sure. She sees herself in the cage and she has no hope for getting out. Okay? Now, what's the truth here?
I'm not trapped.
Are you, in fact, the reality is you're absolutely as free as you think you are. You're
Not completely, though, because I am married, so.
You're as free as you think you are. Your thoughts are yours. Your ability to meditate is yours. Your ability to pursue spiritual growth is yours. Your ability to listen to tapes and do that kind of work is yours. Your ability to go out and do stuff is yours. You're as free as you want to be. Job talks about, people being literally caged in jail and being free. Yeah, because they felt free. Free to be who they wanted to be, free to be real, free to do what they wanted to do, you know? So you're either focused on the things that you can't do or you're focused on the things you can do. Yeah, there's no loss of freedom there.
I guess I'm focusing on what I can.
Except in your perception. Your kid part of you thinks that this marriage or this man can limit your freedom. And in fact, the I of you is God, and this dude cannot limit God's freedom. You are, by your very intrinsic fundamental nature, infinitely free. Okay? So the work may be to realize, to start seeing what that means. And maybe the work is go within and see what it, find out. Go within and ask what it means to be free. Maybe the work is to see what that's about. Anything coming up, Elsie? Well, Christy had something. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I remember times like that. AA gives us a great opportunity to, when I'm in a place like that, I got to get out of myself. I can do all those things.
Being a service.
Yeah, I can do all those things that you just talked about, but I have found that sometimes I got to get out of my own head. I got to stop thinking about me and going to a meeting or, going to be of service. And if you look at all of the qualities of spiritual adults, when you are sitting with somebody else, at least for me, those are the qualities that I am expressing or that I am in that moment, and it's amazing how when you listen to somebody else, it's like you go back and you're like, shit, I don't know what I was thinking about, that, there's something wrong with my life. It's like, it puts me in a state of gratitude. So sometimes it's just the simple stuff that we learn in the beginning of our sobriety that helps.
So mine's the long-range solution, and there's the short-term solution that I didn't come up with.
Sometimes it's just the action, I love that action.
The short-term solution is get your butt to a meeting and see if you can put out your hand to a newcomer.
Well, I have been doing that too. Like, I think I get sitting here and daydream about this, trying to get out of this apartment.
And that changes your thought process.
Yeah.
Like I remember Nikki B used to do those lists of acronyms, action, any change to improve our nature. And sometimes it's like we forget that really simple, spiritual toolbox.
Yeah, change something.
Yeah.
But the fact is, marriage in itself, you're not free. You're not free to go be with everyone you want to be with.
That's your concept, yeah. There's no truth in that.
Open marriage.
There's no truth in that at all. There's no truth in that statement at all.
But
I'd like to deal in on that one because Adele hit me with one that was just absolutely wonderful because I had a lot of fear because marriage number one was not exactly a walk in the park. And she said, we can have any kind of marriage that we want. And it's been true.
The kind of marriage I want would be very destructive.
No, that's not true. The kind of marriage your kid wants would be very destructive.
Yeah.
That's not who you are, and that's not who you want. And those need to be separated.
I do an investigation. If only blah blah was different, I would go. And then I would do be and have those things, and the condition never changed. But I have to convince my kid. So I ask those questions, if only, because my kid loves, If only I, didn't have, if only I wasn't married, if only I was married, if only you would have this, if only you would do that, if only write a book, or get married, or have a baby, or not, And then I write, then I would, and then I list all those things that I think that thing would give me, you see, and find out, So if I wasn't trapped, I would, and then I list those things, and then I go through them, and find out I'm not trapped. That's just a, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I have to go back to what I think, kind of like what you said about the fear. If I wasn't afraid, I would. If I didn't feel trapped, I would. I just experienced this recently, so that particular one. So I started doing all the things that I thought being trapped would keep me from doing.
But you do need to have spiritual adulting gear enough to monitor that list and make sure that it's not destructive.
Yeah, see, at this point.
Oh, yours is wanting to burn the house down or something?
Mine's one, mine's one is very
If only I weren't caged, I could take an Uzi and go wipe out the...
Okay, and then you go, and then you follow that. Okay, I take an Uzi and I show them and I kill it, and then what? And then you run her all the way down, and then, and I don't stop till she can't come up with another then. It carries the drink factor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good old AA stuff. Make the drink through. Fix the behavior through.
No, but I'm so stunned to discover that I am doing all the scripts to me. I'm tracking myself by my thinking and my fantasies. I'm suffocating myself. I never asking for help and stuff. And it was just illuminating. Wow, no one's ever doing that to me anymore. Maybe that happened once, but it's not now. I'm doing it to me. So how are you trapping yourself? That's been a really good. Wow.
Well, I feel trapped in all areas of my life. I mean, when I sat with Dell and read my stuff, it was at work, and it just kind of like spread across. So
Actually, you can look at your work as a source of limitless opportunities. So how could you possibly be trapped there?
So I just focus on I can't drink, I can't this,
That's your kid. That's your kid. Get some more spiritual adulting gear to where you can look at this and walk her through that list. Kelsey's suggestion is great.
Mm-hmm.
Walk her through that list.
And I don't stop till she can't come up with another.
Then I could drink, okay? So she said, if I didn't have to work, then I could drink. And then what would happen to us? All of them. Now we're back to the classic walk the drink through. Yeah. Then I get to go to jail. I get to kill somebody. And walk through.
Okay, thank you.
Who else? Yeah. Jump in, Jess.
Well, I've had a lot of opportunities to work on catching the glitches.
Oh, how good. How nice for you.
For months. But I realized how important it is to catch the glitch.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I get to the managing, I may not be able to get to the drop-off consume for total concern, but at least the managing, and not the emotional meltdown. But which has gotten a little bit easier as this time goes on, just because I constantly go through the script steps, and then I, reassure the kid and just, do all the work, the money work, anything I can get my hands on. But it's just amazing to me. Sunday morning, I was overtired. I agreed to teach a yoga class. I went to this morning meeting, and it was just glitch after glitch after glitch, and I was in just complete meltdown all day. Like, couldn't even, it was just not good because he was there. And I even had a sponsee next to me where I had an opportunity to be of service. But my thing is, I can't, when I'm in that place, I don't know if it's another kid or something, or maybe it's just a continuation of the script, but I get, then another fear comes up, which like, if I keep getting into scripts and into these meltdowns, oh, it's the fantasy, okay. Then I'm never going to get him, so, and that's where I can't, then I just keep, that's where I keep spiraling. So, same thing as Stacy, but different story. But I know I can't get rid of the fantasy, so I'm on, step 6 in the kid work. I'm working on
Well, you can't
right now.
You can't address the fantasy as a fantasy. You can't attempt to destroy the fantasy, take the kid's fantasy away, but you can certainly teach her truth.
Mm-hmm.
You can certainly walk her through. You can do what Dulcie suggested.
Yeah, I do a lot of
You
that.
can certainly walk the kid through the thing and deprogram. It really is a deprogramming effort, Over and over and over.
I had the him thing my whole life. And then when I get him, I will. And then I'll do this and I'll do that. So then I had to go and do all the things I thought would make my life different if I had him.
Right. When I get him, I'll be caged. I'll be trapped.
I thought
Work on that one.
I thought that was the answer. I thought once I get him, everything will be perfect, and now I'm caged.
And that effect, once you get out, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah, I'll be free.
And I have that experience where I had the perfect guy, and I still felt trapped, and now here I am, And I thought if I got out, then I would
I'm
be.
sorry, I'm going to catch you on this. I had the perfect guy. Is that true? No. Whatever perfect guy is that, you got to catch that stuff right there. I had the perfect guy. Well, that's a fucking, excuse me. There is no perfect guy. See, there it is, right there. I catch myself too. If he was perfect,
Then I wouldn't,
well,
then I would have been.
there's the lie. I had the perfect guy, and because I'm such a shit, I.
The fantasy is that there is such a thing as a perfect guy.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we talk a lot. I'm just trying to catch you right on the.
Good.
I got you in person now.
That's what we're doing here, working. There either ain't no perfect guy or it's all perfect.
Nobody's perfect, though.
It's all perfect. Either everybody or nobody, that's what I'm saying. Either nobody's perfect or it's all perfect. You can have either viewpoint you want, but nowhere in between. Yes?
I had a really powerful experience last night after script class.
Oh, cool.
I had seriously about a 20-time script event right after script class. And it is really interesting because I've been feeling and I felt last night just so unbelievably powerless because I feel like these things I'm having scripts about, they're true. My mom and my dad, they don't have a lot of money, and they're always in this financial peril, and my dad, he got laid off. They obviously have their own script about there's not being enough for them, and it keeps happening to them, and they just don't learn. And I love them, and I don't want them to be hurting. And my mom called me last night, and I thought she was just calling to say hi to me, but she was really just calling to ask me for money. So not only did I have nobody loves me, I'm always going to be used, I'm always going to have to be burdened by my parents, but also that my husband's going to look down on me because, I have to ask him if we could give my parents money, and just this, it was just boom, bombs in every area, my self-esteem, my family, my marriage, everything. and it was just like, I felt like I was being stabbed, you know, and it was just so powerful. I was watching it though, like I could see myself doing it, but I couldn't do anything about it. Like I went to the bank and I deposited money into my mom's account this morning. And the only, you know, thing is I realized that I can't look at it like a loan. I'm just giving it to her, because if I set myself up with that expectation, it's a whole other like path of destruction that I can go down. But my parents don't have a lot of money, and it is true that they are probably gonna be like asking me to take care of them, you know. And so my script is like I'll always be burdened by other people, and I saw very clearly that my resistance behavior is that I like keep closed off from people because I don't want to be burdened by any more people that I'm already burdened by. You know what I mean? And so, and also I'm the one that asked her like a week ago, like if you need to borrow money, you can call me and ask me.
See, there was the problem. That was the setup.
You know, because I know that if they don't pay their mortgage, they're going to go into foreclosure, and then they're going to lose their house, and then where are they going to end up? With me or on the street? Right, but it's like, how do I don't understand this one. Like, it is true, my parents don't have any money. So how, like, it's not, you know, like, I've had the guy thing and all that stuff too, and I realize now that those are like, that he's not a perfect guy, there's no perfect guy, and, you know, my marriage isn't really it's like, I see all those as illusions, but when somebody really doesn't, their bank account's like zero, I mean, that's the truth for them.
In the moment, yeah.
So I don't see any solution other than
The problem is that you think it should be different.
Right.
You think there should be money in their account.
I just wish there were, so I don't have to be burdened by them anymore.
You don't have to be burdened by it. Being burdened by it is your choice. And thinking it should be different than it is the deeply conditioned error. We're deeply conditioned to think our parents should have retirement funds and live happily ever after,
exactly.
And be able to get through life without a single spiritual lesson or any spiritual growth at all. What we're saying is we really think that our parents should be set aside and waste this entire lifetime not growing at all spiritually because they have no problems that lead them to growth. Okay? That's what we're asking for when we want them to be perfectly happy. We want them to waste this lifetime and not have a single problem and not make any progress spiritually. In fact, obviously, supply issue is an issue that they're here to learn about this lifetime, and you know what they're working on is working on the principle of supply, and they may be working on it blindly on the well, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work approach, but that may lead them to the point where they actually get a book like Goldsmith's book on spiritual supply and develop a supply consciousness. But that's all independent and is only inhibited by enabling.
Which I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, that's their work. We're so conditioned that you're not a good daughter if you don't take care of them, you're not, yada, yada, yada. And the fact is that, the universe is not about retiring when you're 65 and living behind a white picket fence with a view of the mountains. The universe is about growing spiritually. And we get to come in over and over and over again. And if they don't get it this time, they'll get it next time. What will happen if they don't learn the supply lesson this time is they'll probably come in impoverished at birth next time. They will learn that lesson. This lifetime, next lifetime, 10 lifetimes from now. If they learn it this lifetime, they may not have to do poverty next time. If they don't learn it for 10 lifetimes, then they have to do 10 lifetimes of poverty, You see how it's just a conditioning that, I won't be a good daughter if I don't take care of my parents.
It's just interesting though, because I was able to, even though it was going on, I was letting it go on, I could see it, and I was getting the dialogue really, the dialogue was really powerful, But I just felt so powerless, I was just unbelievably powerless. I was thinking, I just want to put a gun to my head, I just couldn't stand it, all the thoughts that were going through my head, I'd rather just be dead than see my parents homeless. You know, like crazy stuff.
The other comment, which is equally hard, is Barbara's comment. Barbara used to say, thank God I'm powerless. If I weren't powerless, I wouldn't be driven to God. The powerlessness is the most uncomfortable feeling there is.
Yeah. And it's weird though, like all the scripts that I was working on last year, they were like all, I mean, not all gone, but the ones that were really bothering me, they're like not even there anymore. And then I've got all these new ones. Or that, not new, but they're just dormant, you know? Like a freaking volcano was Vesuvius. I was like stuck, like
You remove the house-sized bowl in front of your nose. When you blow up the house-sized bowl that is in front of your nose, you can see the big rocks behind it.
Yeah. Damn, it's still your fault.
My sponsor used to tell me that it's like you're sitting in a sandbox and God gives you this screen and you rake it through the sandbox, you know, and all the clumps come up and you smash out the clumps and you smash out the clumps, and eventually you get to where you can just rake it through there and nothing comes up. And then God hands you a finer screen.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yep, that's the way it works. Yes, Dawson, please.
My heart so goes out to you because I walked through this one deep. I was an only child, and to the point where and my mother got Alzheimer's, and to the point where one night my father called and said, you know, I can't live without your mother. I've got a gun, and he was a hunter, so I knew he had one, and I'm going to shoot her, and I'm going to shoot myself because I can't go on that way. And I said, Dad, I really hope you don't do that. I love you very much. And oh, it shocked him into reality that I wasn't going to run over there one more time and say that.
Yeah.
And I hit my knees, and I was in prayer and meditation all night long. And it was the biggest challenge, probably. I don't want to say that about a few of them, but that was a huge challenge. Because, you see, this is impersonal. That's what, whenever I start to personalize that script, my script is I'll always be trapped. My script is no. There isn't a daughter or son alive that doesn't have this script. And when I get to stand up in my spiritual adult, and another thing that helped me is I recognize Bill and Jerry, not Mommy and Dad.
Yeah, get that one.
So when they call, what are their names?
Lynn and Jean.
Huh?
Lynn and Jean.
Keep saying that to yourself. Then you can detach and see them over there, and these are their life choices, providing them with the consequences they need. You don't have to like it, but you have to love them enough and give them the dignity of their choices. Your job is to give them the dignity of their life back. I know.
And if you're not ready to do that yet, that's okay too. You will be.
I want to be ready. I mentioned something.
Someday you will be ready to do that, and we're just finding out how much it's going to cost you between now and becoming ready.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth. That's the truth that I was trying to say. She said it so much more eloquently, but the fact is that they are making decisions that have consequences, and if you shield them from the consequences of them, they don't learn the error of the decision.
Right. And I just have to erase that idea of my mom should be helping me, not me helping, you know, it's like all the should stuff. And,
Drop that fantasy, and drop the other one that you should be helping them.
yeah.
They're not your responsibility, and you're not their responsibility.
But just like, what is one to do though when they have that much of a script? Like Jesse, what you were saying about how you felt yesterday, like just constant, like I couldn't seem to get to any place of comfort, even after writing about it, listening to Eckhart, I mean, all of it. It was just like,
Well, I remember
crazy.
23 years ago that I was living in Maureen's house. and she was renting me a room, and I had a moment of spiritual enlightenment and realized that this law office I was working at was just way beneath me spiritually, and I should go find a spiritual job. And having had this moment of clarity, the next day, I didn't say anything to anybody, I just had this moment of clarity. I could really start looking for a more spiritual job, and so the next day, they let me know that they had no budget for me anymore. And so I didn't have that job anymore. And so I started looking for work, and I had no idea what it was I thought work should look like back then. Spiritual work that was going to meet my needs living here in Hermosa Beach, And this went on for 6 months. And I had no credit at that point. My TRW was still in arrears, and I went through my money, and Maureen's a very dear friend of mine, fortunately, but I owed her the monthly rent, and I had no money, and I had no credit card, and so we were using her credit card to get the cash to pay her my rent, okay? And this was just, I am a self-sufficient, independent, you don't work, you don't eat, blah, blah, macho nonsense, and this was the hardest thing I had ever dealt with, the fact that I couldn't take care of myself, and this poor little girl was taking care of me. And I called my sponsor at least once a day. And she would just always say something really awesome and inspiring, like, well, God has plenty of time. And God maybe God, I said, I need that money tomorrow. I need a job tomorrow. And she said, well, God may have a different schedule, And the answer was that I had to stop and know the truth. I had to stop and go within 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 times a day. Okay? And I did that for, weeks. And the end result, and finally I saw the whole nonsense, and I finally, as a result of all this going within, I got the picture that I had no idea what I was talking about, or what was sacred, or what was holy work, or what wasn't, and I finally said, don't put anything in front of me you don't want me to do. And the next day I got a job offer from a lady who lived on a house on the Strand in Porto, who wanted me to come work in her house, doing what I do really well. Having realized the foolishness was my idea of what was spiritual and what was helpful and what wasn't. But, I saw it and said, don't put anything in front of me you don't want me to do. And the next day I got a call, and I said yes without a thought, and went and got the job, and the job was fine. But the important aftermath of that was that I built a muscle, and I could drop it in like that anytime I needed to. I could be at my center like that. So what I did during those 4 months of practice, of the 4 or 5 weeks of intensive practice, was build a muscle to go within. Okay?
How'd you do that?
Huh?
How'd you do that?
Stopped every time the thought came up that I'm not having enough money, and went within and said, God has plenty of money. There's not a supply problem here. There's a concept problem. I had a couple of simple spiritual truths, like your spiritual truth is I'm not caged. I am infinitely free to do anything I choose to do. Nobody can cage God. 100 times a day. Every time the glitch came up. And I was really uncomfortable because I did not like to not be able to take care of myself. And, or God has a plan for them. They don't, God doesn't have grandparents, God has a plan for them. God has a plan for them, Whatever your truth is, that you just meet their life with that truth every time. Stop and say, nope, God has a plan for them. Let's see what it is. And a minute later, nope, God has a plan for them. Let's see what it is. If nothing else, you'll tire your kid out. You'll get really tired of hearing only the one line. Nope, God has a plan for them. Let's wait and see what it is, or whatever your truth is.
That's a good suggestion. I've never heard that, but it's true. If you just did that all day long instead of going with the thought.
Nope, God has a plan for them. Let's wait and see what it is. Wonder what it'll look like. Nope, God has a plan for them. Nope, I'm free. Nobody can chain God. I'm an expression of God. Nobody can cage me. It's impossible. It's inconceivable that I'm caged. Nope, that can't be true. That's the kind of deprogramming we're talking about. And you will have to say it to yourself as many times as you've been told that you should, as a good little daughter, take care of your parents. Or that parents should have money, or that they shouldn't be destitute, or that there's something wrong with being homeless. Homeless is an ideal opportunity for spiritual growth. And lots of people meet the need and come out of it and get great jobs and do their thing, and lots don't, and then come around and get to do it again next time.
I'm going to share something. Actually, I really appreciate you bringing this up because I didn't realize part of it is I can share what my growth on it, but I'm realizing I'm doing better than I think I am. I started that class going, God, I'm so sorry.
Nice to be faced
So
with
it's
that.
nice to say, 3 months ago, my brother, who for years, he's 41 years old, has always been, can never take care of himself. My father always took care of himself, took care of him. He was always, buying, and my dad, so when my dad passed away, it was like, this is going to come on us. And sure enough, every time he was getting close to some kind of issue, he'd have to go back to my brother and ask for money and all this kind of stuff. And literally 3 months ago, he got to where he was being evicted. He was in the hospital, and I was in this class just raging about the fact that I was so mad that he's in this situation because he's going to have to depend on me. Well, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm putting a shit judgment, but he's living with me. And I actually let him move in. And at first I was just so angry during the process. Like, I'm so mad you got yourself in this situation, and I was furious. But until you brought it up, I've almost completely forgotten he's still there. And I think that's truly because we had a long talk about the situation, and I actually let go and said, what, he stays here, he stays in the room, it's going to be fine. And my husband and I were both really, he was kind of upset about it. Is there a plan? Is he going to be out? And I was like, okay, you're going to have to do this, and I'm going to take your money, and I'm going to do this, because he is working. But I think because of the, I feel a little scared straight. I don't know, that's really not it. But I completely let go of it, and he's living there, and he comes in and out, and he's going on his way, and he's come to me twice saying, I've got a plan, I'm going to be out of here. I'm humiliated because I can't believe I got to this point. It's like he dropped the bottom, and he's coming out of it. And I just let go, and I truly forget that he's there. And I've actually started writing notes, and it made me realize how the transition was when I let go and I let him stay there, because I had an extra room, and it was fine, and it's downstairs. And I started writing notes like, quit hating yourself, you're great, you're awesome, you can do this. And I wrote him a couple notes, and I see them in his room now. And I just kept saying, you can do this, you're okay. And he came to me and I'm sorry I'm a burden. I said, you're not a burden, you need some help, you're all right. And when I quit beating him up doing the parent thing and just loved him and realized that he'll get through this and it'll be okay, I forget that he lives with me. And I walk in like, okay, Karen, he's sitting downstairs, he's doing his own thing, and everything's fine. And it's kind of like, what's the worst that could happen? If you felt your parents would live with you, it's like, the best thing you can do is love them, at least for me, because I completely forget my brother's living with me, and I was so resenting the idea of it, and it's been just fine, and he's actually making a plan of action, and I think he just needed, for me, a little love, and, he said, I'll try to get out by September, and I said, take your time. Don't get yourself in a position because you want to, get out of here because of humiliation, this and that, and the other thing, and it's actually just, it's been a good thing for him, so I don't, that's just my, my experience, and it's been fine, and so I'm just dealing with him with love, and so I don't know if that gives you any hope. It's just 3 months ago I couldn't do that. I was beating him up. So.
Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody. Well, I just, I've been working on this thing. I was talking to Adele this week, and we were talking about procrastination. I think it was you anyway, but I was wondering to myself, what is this procrastination thing, and how is it, what is its purpose is it serving, and what script is it perpetuating, and what are the fantasy scripts, and what are the fantasy behaviors that support it, and for so I just did a little work on it and figured out what the script was, because all I see is the procrastination. All I was seeing was the procrastination. And all I was doing was my parent was beat myself up over procrastination. It's like, you know, it's constant, you know, because there's always something to do, and there's always something that I'm not doing fast enough, and there's always something that I'm putting off, and there's this constant procrastination script going on, or procrastination parent thing going on. So, you know, when I looked at it, and I was like, all right, let's figure out why am I procrastinating, and what script was. So I just started brainstorming it, and realized, and it was very informative for me to realize this. I don't know if it's going to save me from it, or it's going to take the power out of it, or whatever, but, you know, I realized, with respect to work, and it's, you know, I have this thing where I'll always get, I'll always get caught thing. It helps me a little bit with that. I always get caught. I'll always be ridiculed. I'll always be rejected or thrown away, and never be good enough. And it all kind of wrapped around that whole thing. I was like, I couldn't separate any of it, because the procrastination is just me being afraid to do the work because I don't want to be rejected, or because I don't want to lose the job, or, you know, it's like, just keep putting it off. Or it's not going to be good enough. I mean, that's the
problem with doing with the work is that it can be judged.
It can be not good enough.
To do the work, it gets judged.
Exactly. Now,
whatever your script is, that's the judgment you fear, and you get thrown away.
And now, what happens? And I guess this is one of those contrary things. The time will crunch, and I'll finally be forced to do something, you know, and I'll do it, and it'll be like, oh man, why did I make such a big deal out of that? It came out great, you know, or it's just part of the process. That script's been loosening up over the years, but I still get into it. I still get into emotion over this stuff on a regular basis. It's one of my main ones, and you know, I also wrote down a fantasy script that would go along with it, which was, you know, the work, which matches this, is the work's going to be so great that there's no way in hell they're going to reject me. I mean, there's no way it's going to be rejected, and they're all going to just realize what an incredible artist I am, and just, you know, adore the work or whatever, which happens sometimes, but that it's always going to happen, and I'm never going to produce any shitty work. You know, that's maybe the fantasy. I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure it out, and then and I guess it also works with my bidding process, and it's all in there, because what I do is I put off this giving them the price, because I don't want to be rejected. And what I used to do was I would bid so low that they couldn't reject me. And but when I started bidding higher and higher and higher, I'm always in script when I turn a bid in. There's no doubt. I mean, I'm always in script, and it's always they're going to reject me, or they're going to think I'm cheating. So anyway, it was just very helpful for me to write the stuff out and to see how it works, see how the mechanics of it work, and see it in black and white.
Great.
And if you guys have any comments on that, I was welcomed or not. You know, I just want to listen. Yeah.
That's good work, and so obviously the answer is to keep enough spiritual adult in here that you can submit bids while in spiritual adult, take care of the kid first, and then turn in the bid. And similarly, recognize procrastination for the resistance behavior that it is, and get your spiritual adult in here and walk through it.
Yeah. However, like before, and I still do this, is how I deal with procrastination is, you stupid motherfucker, do the work, bitch, you know? And now I'm just,
Not how you care. That's how your parents. deal with procrastination. That's not how I deal with procrastination. I recognize it for what it is and takes the kid and says, we'll be fine, let's just go make the first swipe on the wall.
Right.
It's a pain in the pot, no, we're gonna, walk through it with the kid, but holding what you do is walk through both of those, being spiritual adult, taking care of that part of you that's afraid, acknowledging the part of you that's afraid, say, yeah, I see the fear, and nonetheless, there's nothing to worry about, know the truth, and and take the step. Take spiritual adult.
Another thing I do is as soon as I send the bid in, I have to call somebody, like immediately, and just blurt it out, get it out of my face, and just say it to somebody that I'm afraid,
Fine.
Yeah. I lost the bid like a month ago too, and it was like, I didn't die,
Didn't have time for them anyway, they don't value your work.
Yeah, well, it was good, so I'm good.
Well, any burning desires left? Let's get quiet for a few minutes. Soak in the silence, call it an evening. Okay, thanks for coming. I love you all. See you soon, I hope. Good night, everybody. Oh, Christy, you got here. Good. Good night. Good night. Good night. Hi, Jim.